guys. Sorry, I am a bit under the weather, so I don't have a whole lot of a voice, which might be a good thing when you think about how much talking I actually do. How is everyone? It is Thursday, and you guys, I did not realize until this morning that Christmas is less than a week away. Can you believe that? Less than a week. Like, there's 6 days between today and Christmas. And even though I'm under the weather, I'm so thankful that it's now so that in 6 days I will be better. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to sound better. So as much as no one likes to be under the weather, it's nice to know that at least I'm getting it over with now, right? So today's project is, wait, hold on, back it up. Let's rewind just a second. So before we get started with the project, I don't know if you guys were there or not, but there was a Facebook Live over at Beaded with Meredith Roddy and Sarah James. If you didn't get a chance to see that, when we are finished here, hop over there and go check out the video, because they were talking about our Tucson adventure coming up in February. You guys, get your tickets now because it's gonna sell out. Check out that video to get all the information that you need. There are links available to take you straight to the tickets. There are links to the projects and all kinds of good information about that event. There's going to be 3 classes. Sarah, James, and I, sorry, there's something on my arm. Sarah, James, and I, and Meredith Roddy are all 3 going to be there. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have classes. We're going to have a wonderful catered lunch, and you're going to have the opportunity to go and enjoy the outdoors. We're going to go to Tahona Chul, which is a botanical garden, and you will get a guided tour of the gardens, which is just, I can't wait. I've had Tucson on the brain for about 3 weeks now, and like the further we get into the holidays, I know that we're like counting down to Tucson. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great trip, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. So if you need more information on that, go to jessiejamesbeads.com. There is a Join Us in Tucson link at the top. You can also get all of the links from the Facebook Live that just happened. It's going to be awesome. And the link coming up right now. So it's going to be great, you guys. If you have the opportunity to come and hang out with us in Tucson, it's going to be so much fun. So I'm seeing lots of familiar faces. There's Eve, there's Kim, and Jane, and Dale. Hi, everybody. So I got to see Jane last night. I probably shouldn't have gone. I went out with our Bead Society for our holiday dinner, and I tried very hard not to share my germs with everyone. So I had all my food like in a little huddle, like don't breathe on anybody. Oh, James says he doesn't think he gets to go to Tucson this year. That's so sad, James, because I was looking forward to seeing you in person and everyone else. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good trip. The last time I went to Tucson, I was in the Beaded booth, so I didn't get to see a whole lot of outdoor Tucson, so I cannot wait to experience that. It's going to be great and get to see all of my bead friends. All right. So today's project is kind of inspired by one of the projects that we are actually going to be doing in Tucson. And this is actually going to be a 2-parter. You're going to get 5 Fast and Furious earrings today. And then over on Sara Ellis Designs tomorrow at 1 p.m., you're going to get 5 more Fast and Furious earrings. So we are talking basics. We're going to start with the basics, and then we're going to kind of build up and take each one of the things that we learn a little step further. And we're going to do the same thing tomorrow. We're going to start small and work our way, but don't think that you're getting the same projects here as the ones in Tucson, because I promise you they're all going to be different. I can make earrings for days, y'all. Just so you know, I can make earrings forever, so there is going to be no shortage and hopefully no repeats. And if there are, that's okay too, right? I mean, because some of them are just so amazing. It's fun to do them again and again. So we're going to do 5 pairs of earrings quick today. I'm only going to make one. The pair is I already have the mate for each one. So we're only going to do one, but we're going to do 5 total, right? And I'm using the Perfect 5 Inspiration bead mixes from Jesse James Beads. So over on the website, this is the beads. You're going to get 5 of these. This is a great bundle to buy for a beader in your life if you're looking for stocking stuffers, or for yourself. At Christmas time, I love to buy something for myself. I know that's terrible, right? But any purchase I make in the month of December, I tag it as I'm giving this to myself, right? So you can get away with it. It's like eating snacks. If you eat them in the dark or you eat them over the sink, right? The calories don't count. So anything you buy for yourself in December, it's a gift. It's a gift to yourself. So I know it's silly, right? But I justify all of the beads that I have. I have to do that. So the Perfect 5 Inspiration Bead Mix, you're going to get 5 of these, which is, well, it's pretty awesome. And they are jam-packed full. So with just one of these, I'm going to show you 5 pairs of earrings, and we'll still have beads left over. So think about, you've got 5, you can make 5 pairs of earrings. That's 25, plus all the beads that are left over for pendants, necklaces, everything else you could possibly imagine. So let's get started. We're going to start easy and work our way through. All right, you guys. I'm so sorry about my voice. Oh, I really don't feel as bad as I sound. Okay, so in my mix, in one of my mixes rather, this one was my favorite. And if I could get it open, I can show it to you. So this is just some of the beads that were in this one. I've already picked out the mates because, like I said, I have the other mate earrings ready to go. So some of the beads are missing here, but I'm going to pull out and show you what we're going to do. So the first earring we're going to make, we're going to start with the basics. We're just going to start with wrapped loops on the top and the bottom. The only difference is that the wire wrapping is doubled, which is a neat trick. Let me fix the lights here, you guys. It's a little dark. I apologize. There we go. Light it up a little bit. So we're going to double up the wire wrapping. I'm going to show you how to do that. So that's going to be earring number 1. So for earring number 1, we're going to need this guy and this guy. Okay, I'm going to move these over. I'm not going to show you the rest. We're going to do one at a time. All right, also, there are no jump rings here, so we are going to wire wrap directly onto the charm on the bottom. Okay, so that is a technique in itself, right? So starting with the basics, we're going to start with a 22 gauge piece of wire, and I've got a pretty long piece. You know how it goes with me. I always have more than I actually need, but particularly when I'm going to double up the wire wrapping on things, I like to cut about a 5-inch piece, okay, of 22 gauge wire. I'm using gold color, and we're going to come in with our chain nose pliers, and I'm going to come down quite a bit because we do need enough wire to do that double wrap. Okay, so I'm grabbing that wire, I'm going to bend it 90 degrees, straightening out the bottom wire, straightening out this top wire. We're just making a backward 7, and then we are coming in with our round nose pliers, and I am going to go up and over, adjusting the grip, and guide the wire around. Okay, so now we're going to wire wrap, and I'm going to wrap 4 times. I normally only do 3, but we're going to do 4. And now we want to go back up the wires that we've already wrapped. Okay, so we wrapped around 4 times. We're down here at what I call the bottom because that's the bottom of the wraps. Now we're going to go from bottom to top back up here towards the loop. So all you want to do is you just want to take that tail end of your wire and you want to wrap over the top of the wire wraps that are already there, just going back up. And for this earring in particular, this is just a style choice. This is not for function. Sometimes I just like that chunky monkey kind of wire. However, if you are using some smaller gauged wire for your wire wrapping. If you're using, say, a 24 gauge or a 26 gauge, this might be necessary because those wires are a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, but sometimes that's the size that needs to go through something like a gemstone or some glass beads or your pearls that have a very small hole, so you need to use a smaller wire. But if you want to add extra strength to your design, then you can always double up on the wire wraps here. It also brings your eye to that wire to show it off. So if you're using a beautiful color of wire, this is a really good way to draw attention to that wire in your design. The way it looks to me, and I know this is kind of funny, but I always tell you guys the funny little things because I know that you will remember them. So the way that this looks is, to me, it reminds me of slouchy socks, right? So we're doing the slouchy socks wire wrap. That's the double, you know, looks like you've got on those slouchy socks and they're all pushed down. All right, so we're going to thread on our bead, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but this time we're going to wire wrap directly onto the charm, and we're going to give it another slouchy sock wire wrap on the other end. All right, so I'm grabbing that wire right as it is exiting the bead, and I'm going to bend 90 degrees. And you can see I have way more wire than I actually need for this. I'm going to go ahead and come in with the round nose pliers, and I'm going up and over. Adjust my grip, guide that wire on around, and then I'm going to take it off of the pliers. And now I'm going to pop this onto the charm that we're using. So to do that, I'm just going to take the tail end of my wire, I'm going to put it through the loop of the charm or whatever you're using, whether it is another loop on a bead. The process is exactly the same. You just bring it down and then pop them together, and you can actually hear the little pop that happens. Okay, so now I'm going to wire wrap down here, and I like to use my bent chain nose pliers for this to hold on to that loop. And I like the bent chain nose pliers because you can see it, the tip of the pliers is out of the way so that I have plenty of room to do the wire wrapping here. So I'm going to go around. I don't quite have room to do 4, but that's okay. I'm still going to do that slouchy sock and come right back up, covering the wire wraps that were already there. So I went down to the bead and then back up. Okay, now we're going to trim off the tail, and we're going to add the ear wire to this, and this one will be finished. Whoops, wrong pliers. All right, pop that on. Pair number 1 down, ready to go to pair number 2. All right, so the next earring that we're going to make is this one, just a little bit of a step up. So we're going to create our own head pin. We're going to thread it through. We're going to add a little decorative wire here on the bottom, and we've got our wrapped loops on the glass bead on the top. So these are the 2 beads that we're going to use. I'm going to sit this one over here to the side. And one thing to notice is that this bead in particular, there is a hole that goes all the way through. So you could thread all the way through this and bring your thread out, or your wire rather, out here to the bottom. This space gives you the ability to thread on smaller beads if you want to, but I'm only going to utilize this top hole, so I don't need to worry about this down here. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our knotted head pin. And again, you're going to need a piece of 22 gauge wire and your round nose pliers. We're going to grab that wire right at the tip. We're going to roll it around the top of the pliers once and then twice, and you want to stop where you see where your wire is cut. We're going to bend the wire out this direction. And again, I have tons of wire. That's okay. I can use this for other things as well. Okay, so when you take it off of the pliers, you have your 2 loops down here on the bottom. You're going to take the tail end of your wire and guide it back through. Now take note of the direction, okay, because I think the instinct is to go from this side, but really what you want is you want to go back down through, okay? And then I'm going to come in with my nylon jaw pliers for this. And I'm going to grab the wire right next to the 2 loops that I made. This is really important. You don't want to grab down here and try to pull. You really need those 2 wraps to be sitting right up against the surface, the side surface of your nylon jaw pliers. And the nylon jaw pliers are essential for this. You cannot do this with just regular pliers because you will tear up the surface of the wire. So at this point, I'm just going to come in with a pair of pliers. I'm going to grab the tail end of that wire and give it a pull. And I'm pulling pretty hard. So I have pulled that wire through the loops that we made, and we have created this cute little rosette, a little knot that is going to serve as our head pin. So now I want to thread this onto our bead, and I'm going to go from the inside because, like I said, that drilled hole comes down through here and then down here, but we're ignoring this one. So we're going to go from the inside just like so, and pull that up so that our knot sits right there in that little crevice. Okay, and we are going to just wire wrap here at the top, taking the wire, bending it 90 degrees, round nose pliers up and over, adjust your grip, and wire wrap. And I've got room for 4 here. All right, so I'm going to take that off, and then we're going to trim the tail. And this part is ready to go. So now before I add the bead for the top of this, let's do a little wire wrapping down here at the bottom. This is not intricate. This is just kind of some straightforward wire wrapping. But I'm showing you this to give you a little bit of inspiration for when you have beads of this shape or pendants or charms or whatever. You can always take it and personalize it with additional wire wraps. You could do some little curly cues if you wanted to. You could get very involved with this. We're going to keep it kind of straight and simple, but don't ever forget that you can always add your personal touches with your wire. So we are going to take another piece of the 22 gauge wire, and all we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to set a wrap. So we're just going to make one good wrap. And I'm kind of tugging on both ends just to really set that one there, right? So now our wire is anchored, and I can kind of scoot it over. It's still going to move a little bit until we mash it down. Okay, so I'm just going to continue this coming up through the center and create some wire wraps here, and I can always adjust the spaces later or right now. It makes no difference. This is very fluid. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 wraps. Just had to check the other one because I want them both to match. Okay, so there's 3. I'm giving it a good tug, right? Because I want it to be nice and tight. I don't want it to be loose. There's 4. I'm just using my fingernails to kind of guide the wire over where I want it to be, make it sit where I want it. 22 gauge wire is sturdy, but it's very forgiving, so you can always make adjustments. Okay. There's 5, working on 6. Just pull tight. And you'll notice I've left a tail here because once I fill up this side, I can go over there to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be 7. Okay. And I'll slide all this over just a bit. I finished on the back here. I'm going to come over here to this side and stick it through. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 9. That's exactly what I want. Just going to adjust it just a little bit, and I want to trim on the back. So I'm just going to clip this on the back. I'm not really worried about what it looks like on the back so much. Okay, so now if you want, you can hammer this down just a little bit with a nylon hammer, or you can take the tail end of this and very carefully tuck it underneath the wire next to it so that it doesn't stick out. but I'm actually going to leave mine because I'm going to mash on mine just a little bit with the nylon jaw pliers. So you get it to where you want it to be, and then you can either put this on your block and very gently, because you don't want to crack this bead. This is a nice shell bead. You don't want to crack that, so you just barely want to tap on it. The alternative is to use your nylon jaw pliers and give it a nice squeeze all along those wraps and on the back as well. Just making sure that everything is secure, and you can make adjustments with your regular pliers if you need to. Okay, so the alternative to this with the wire wraps ending on the back, you could have ended with your wire wraps here on the front and taken those wire ends and made little spirals out of them and laid those flat and then hammered those down as well. Okay, so just giving you a lot of different options, lots of different things to think about when you're creating. So there is the bottom of our earring, and now we're ready to add our glass bead to the top. And this is pretty straightforward. We are going to wire wrap directly on. So coming in, bending my wire, straightening it out a bit because this was a leftover, a piece that we clipped. Round nose pliers up and over, on around. I'm going to take that off, and this time I'm going to go ahead and take this bottom loop and pop it onto that one. Okay. Bent chain nose pliers to hold that, switch hands. Oops, popped out of the pliers on me. Okay, just wire wrap three or four times rather. Trim your tail. And slide your bead on. Now this bead has a little bit of a larger hole, so it's going to cover those wraps. That's fine with me. Oh, maybe not. I thought that it did. All right, so notice the direction of that loop on the bottom. The loop on the dangling portion is facing us. The loop on the bottom of our glass bead is facing to the side. So the loop that we want on the top, we also want it to face towards us because of the direction of our ear wire. So these two loops on this bead will be going in two opposite directions. Okay, always double check those little things. Okay, bending 90 degrees, coming in with the round nose, up and over, on around, and give it some wire wrapping. And for some reason I had a lot of space there, so I've got 4 wraps on the top here. That's totally fine. Nobody's going to notice that kind of difference once you have your earrings on. Okay, all right, we're going to add our ear wire, and earring set number 2 is complete. All right, so we've got 2 down and 3 to go. All right, so the next earring, we're gonna do a little wrapped decoration here at the top of this beautiful teardrop shaped bead. We're using a jump ring as our connection. We're gonna wrap across the surface of this beautiful glass bead, okay? And we're gonna do it quick. So buckle up, let's do this. So you're gonna need a piece of 22 gauge wire. You're gonna need a little bit longer piece than normal. Excuse me. So I'm gonna cut myself a long piece here. All right, now we're gonna create a knotted head pin because this bead is not side drilled. It is actually drilled from top to bottom. You can see there's the hole on the bottom. So we're gonna do our head pin, wrapping around the tip of the round nose pliers once, twice, stop where we see the wire is cut, and bend out this direction. Okay, take the tail end of the wire, go back through the 2 loops, bring in your nylon jaw pliers, and pull. Pull tight. All right, now we're going to thread this on. You can see I have a huge amount of wire. I don't need all this wire. Thread that that on, bring that bead to the bottom. All right, now we're going to start a wrapped loop, just like normal. Yes, there is the bottom of the head pin. So it's just this little, Patty asked if I could show the bottom of the head pin. It's just a little rosette. It's just a knot, but it's a pretty knot. It's not, how many times can I say knot? It's not an ugly knot. It really is just this really beautiful, I call it a rosette because that's what it reminds me of. It's just a nice little swirl there. All right, grabbing that wire, bending it 90 degrees, round nose pliers up and over, adjusting my grip, coming on around. I'm going to switch hands. Okay, so there is the space there where you can see, just like normal, we're just going to wire wrap. And now I'm going to continue that wire wrap, and I'm going to wrap down the surface of the bead. And I want to go slowly, making sure that those wraps are laying nice and neat right next to each other. Okay, and you'll notice I'm going slow. This is Fast and Furious earrings, but there are certain things you need to slow down with, and this is one of those things. So I'm just guiding that wire around. Okay, I'm going to go one more time, and then we're going to go up to the top. So I'm going to wrap right back around to the front. Okay, and I've started that wrap, so you can tell that wire is already going in the direction that I want it to go. It's partially laying on the surface of the bead. I'm going to take this off of the pliers, and I'm going to guide the tail of the wire up across all of those wire wraps. Okay, up here to the wire wraps where my loop is, these small wraps here, and I'm going to wrap around those twice just to secure it. Okay, now I'm going to come to the back and trim off my tail. And that is ready to go. So now we are going to do the same thing, well, not the same thing, but we are going to do 2 wrapped loops on this one, but keeping with the style where the wire is curving up and going across the surface, we're going to do the same thing with our bead. So we're going to do a wrapped loop on either side with that wire coming up across the surface of the bead. Okay, so I'll show you. You can see, even though they're going in opposite directions, if I wanted them to go in the same direction, I could just flip this over, but I really don't think that it makes that much of a difference. But you can see where that wire is laying across the surface of that bead. That's just kind of bringing this element up here to the top of the earring. Okay, so same thing, 22 gauge wire for this. And we're not going to wrap this directly on here. We're going to use a jump ring. All different kinds of ways to make connections. That's why we do it this way, just to give you a different option. Okay, up and over, on around. Gonna wrap around. Gonna trim off the tail. Okay, we're going to thread on our bead. Same thing, wire wrap loop here at the top, grabbing that wire right as it is exiting the bead. Up and over, on around, doing the wire wrapping, and then with the tail, okay, and you can see mine's really long. I'm going to lay this across the surface of the bead, right? Bring it all the way down. You can see where it's laying. Okay, so I'm going from this side to this side. And I'm just going to take that tail and wrap around the wire wraps that are already there. Give it that slouchy sock. Okay, and now I'm going to trim off the tail. So now I'm going to attach these with a 6mm jump ring, and we are going to add the ear wire, and pair number 3 will be done. So we are moving right along as quick as we can. I have lost a pair of pliers. Hold on. All right. So just popping a jump ring on to connect the 2 beads. Excuse me. And adding our ear wire. Okay. And pair number 3. Okay. Moving on to pair number 4. So number 4, I'm saving my favorite for last. Number 4 is just a simple teardrop, and the reason I'm showing you this simple teardrop is because there are so many different things that you can do with this. So you get the basic, we've just thread on 1 bead, right? So this is super quick. If you need to make Christmas presents, last minute Christmas presents, this is the perfect earring for that. Not that any of these are hard by any means. You could certainly make each one of these and everyone could have a different pair of earrings. But this is a really simple technique that you can take and use and really dress this up a lot of different ways. So what you're going to need for this is a 5-inch piece of 18 gauge wire. And I'm using the artistic wire mandrel for this. This is one of my very favorite tools in the entire world. If you've not seen this, you can grab one of these. It has a nice handle on it that is a 31mm. So if you need a really large circle shape, then you've got that. And then it steps up all the way. So you've got about a 27.5-inch circle all the way up here to a 6-inch circle. So that gives you the option to create a lot of different sizes, and it's interchangeable. So you can also, it comes with other mandrels. There is a square, a triangle, and an oval, and I use them for all kinds of things. This is probably the #1 used tool in my arsenal other than pliers. All right, so I'm taking a 5-inch piece of the wire and I want to put it on the very bottom mandrel down here, and that is a 27.5-inch, or I'm sorry, 27.5mm. That's the measurement here. All right, and I'm just going to guide that wire into that teardrop shape, and you do have to wiggle it just a little bit so that each side is even, and you definitely want that. Okay, you want both sides to be nice and even. Okay, taking it off of the tool. Okay, and at this point, you want to pop it on the block just for a second and work hard in it just a bit. All right, so now we're ready to thread on 1 bead. You could thread on as many beads as you wanted to with this. You could wire wrap onto this. You could do all kinds of things, but we're keeping it simple, quick and easy. So I'm going to thread this bead on, bring it down here to the bottom. Just put everything back into shape. All right, so now I'm going to use my bail making pliers. I'm using the small ones. I'm going to use the smallest mandrel. The wire side that is over here to my left, I'm going to take the bail making pliers, smallest bail, and I'm going to turn a loop going outwards. Okay. Now on this side, I'm going to take that same loop and it's going to go to the back. So just grabbing that, turning it back. Okay. So this is what we've got. We've got one loop going this way and one loop going the other way. So what you'll notice is that when you're looking at it from the front, this loop disappears. Okay. So we're going to come in with our chain nose pliers and we are going to open this just like we would a jump ring, just opening it this direction. And I'm going to squeeze the 2 sides together very gently and I'm going to pop them together. So I'm just going to slide the left side into the loop. Whoops, I got it caught. Oh, whoops, open it just a bit. And then you want to close that loop back. Okay. And when you look at it from the front, you just have the one loop. So that's the easiest way that I know how to make a teardrop shape. You can make this out of any gauge wire and you can take it and do a million different things with it, but it looks beautiful just like that. So all we're gonna do is add an ear wire to it and this one is finished. Done. So now we have a beautiful set. Number 4. Okay. Last but not least, we're just going to take our wire wrapping and do a little decorative something different with it because I have this great bead that I absolutely love, and this beautiful bead here. So we're going to attach the two of these together with a jump ring, but we're going to wire wrap. We're going to give ourselves a little extra here just to kind of change up the look a little bit. You can do this with any bead, so any of your favorite Jesse James beads will work. You can do it with a round bead, you can do it with a square bead. It doesn't have to be a bead that is shaped exactly like this, but I do love the look of that. So let's do it. We're going to do a head pin on the bottom. So we're going to make our little knotted head pin. Grabbing that wire right at the tip, rolling it around once, rolling it around twice, stopping where I see that wire is cut, out this direction, bringing the tail back through, bringing in the nylon jaw pliers, and pull. You can see we've got that beautiful knotted head pin. We're going to thread on our bead. And this one we're just going to do a wrapped loop at the top. We're going to attach the two together with a jump ring. So don't have to worry about wire wrapping onto this. Up and over. Switching hands and doing the wire wrapping. All right, so now I'm going to come to the back, trim this off, and I'm going to sit this to the side, and we're going to work on the top section. Okay, so for the top section, I'm going to need another long piece of the 22 gauge wire. Give yourself more than you think you're going to need for this. And we are just going to start the same way we would with any wrapped loop, okay? Bending, round nose pliers, up and over, on around, okay, and we are going to trim that off. All right, so now we are going to thread on our rondelle. Okay, and we are going to come up here a bit. Now, if this is the first earring, you don't have to measure anything. You just kind of eyeball it and figure out how much space you want in between here, right? But since this is the second earring, I really need to look at the first earring, and I want to get that spacing very, very close. As close as I possibly can. And I could measure this with a ruler, but I am so hard-headed that I won't do that. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and come down just a little bit on my wire. Okay. And then I'm going to bend. So I've left this space here for all of that beautiful wire wrapping. I'm going to go up and over, on around, and now we're going to fill that space with the wire wraps. And we're going to hope that I cut a long enough piece of wire. This is looking a lot longer than the other one. So I don't think these are going to be exact matches, but it's going to be pretty close. So you'll notice I'm going kind of quickly. You can definitely slow down a bit on this. I've done this a million times, so that's why I've just kind of sped through that wire wrapping there. But take your time. Do as I say, not as I do. You know how it goes. Take your time with those wire wraps, because wire wrapping in an open space like this, you've got gravity working against you. So the bead, even though it's not super heavy, it does want to pull this down. And so it makes it kind of wobbly. So as you're wire wrapping, you're fighting against that gravity and the need for this to want to wobble. And it can be kind of tricky. So just go slow. Okay. Now I'm going to take the tail end of that wire. I'm going to guide it along the side of the bead. Right? Just like that. Guide it along the side on the bottom as well. And then I'm going to wire wrap over the top of these wire wraps on the bottom. Bring the wire to the back and trim it off. And you can adjust just a bit. And if you wanted to, you could take, if you're worried that this is too flimsy, I'm not worried about it. I think that it's just fine. But if you were concerned that this was a little flimsy, the longer this gets, the more play you're going to have. So if you're wire wrapping a long section that is twice the size of this, it's definitely going to have the, how to word this, it could get caught in your hair and it could change the shape of this, right? So instead of having this nice straight wire wrap section, you could have it with some bends in it. So you could take this if you wanted to, and I'm not going to do it, but I'm just going to show you, and lay it on your block so that the bead is off of the side so that your wire wraps are right here. I will do it. And just tap this with your nylon hammer, just for extra security if you're worried about it. Okay, you don't have to do that, but the longer the wire wrap section, the more it's possible for it to bend and come out of shape. All right, so we're just going to connect these two with a jump ring and add our ear wire, and pair number 5 is done. And this one is my favorite. I cannot wait to wear these. Close it up. And yes, there's quite a bit of difference in the length. That's okay, right? Because when I have it on, nobody's gonna notice. Oh, I should have used a ruler. So lesson learned, you guys. Mark it out on a ruler if you're gonna make a large section, rather. Mine was just a tiny bit off by about maybe 2 wraps. It's really not that big of a difference, but it would drive me crazy, so I will have to remake just because I'm so hard-headed like that. All right, you guys, so bringing them all out here, we've done 5 quick pairs of earrings using these beautiful Jesse James beads from the Fantastic 5. That's not what it's called. It's not the Fantastic 5. Excuse me. This is the Perfect 5. And don't forget, let's see, I'm missing a pair. It's like, wait, that's only 4. So there are our 5 quick and easy pairs of earrings. They're all different. If you need last minute Christmas gifts, grab the Perfect 5, grab your inspiration mixes, and pop out these earrings. I'm telling you, every single pair can be different, and I still had beads left over, which is my favorite part, right? So I made 5 pairs of earrings with 1 of these mixes, and I still have enough beads to make all kinds of other stuff. I could probably make at least 3 more pairs of earrings, maybe 4 out of this. So you could get at least 7, maybe 8 pairs of earrings out of 1 of these guys. That's amazing. So, all right, I'm gonna flip you around. I'm gonna show you some of these on. Hi. Move the lights just a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna hold them all up so that you can see them. So this was pair number 1. I love this. That's just one of my favorites. And I love the added like bling that the facets in that bead make. The facets make bling. Yes. I don't feel good, you guys. Can you tell? My brain is like, oh, yeah. Need a nap. All right, so pair number 2. I really love these two. These are so fun. If you've got somebody in your family that needs a last minute gift, these are so fun. So, so fun. All right, pair number 3. These are going to my mom. These are right up her alley. These are so pretty. All right, pair number 4, and these are classic, right? Just one singular bead. You can make these in every color of the rainbow to go with every outfit. And last but not least are these guys. Love those. I think those are my favorite. There you go. So that's it. We did 5 fast and furious pairs of earrings using one mix from Jessie James Beads. You guys, these make perfect last minute gifts. They are a great way to practice all of the techniques that you have been learning or that you have learned, or if you need to brush up on them. Just like I always say, it doesn't have to be difficult to be beautiful, right? You can make the most simple, like for instance, just this simple hoop with one. I mean, that's a beautiful earring, right? And it doesn't have to be complicated. So I hope I have given you guys some inspiration. Go check out the Perfect 5 inspiration over on Jessie James Beads. Definitely take a look at the Join Us in Tucson pull down menu to get all of your information about going to Tucson if you would like to come and hang out with us and make some amazing jewelry and enjoy all that Tucson has to offer. I am really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys as well. So that's it for me today. Well, it's not it for me today, but it's it for me right now. So you can join me again tonight at 6:30 on Silver Silk and More Facebook Live. I'm going to be doing a beautiful earring using the Travels to Toyland. I can't wait to show you guys this earring. It's really, really awesome. And of course, beads from Jessie James Beads. And then you can join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Sara Ellis Designs. I'm going to do another 5 fast and furious pairs of earrings that are completely different than the ones we just did, right? Tons of inspiration. I've got you covered. If you need last minute gifts, I am your go-to for this. So have a wonderful afternoon. Go make some earrings. Post them on the Secret Stash page. I want to see what you guys are up to. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and hopefully I will see you guys this evening. Bye, guys.